Well, good evening. I'm Rick Dancer, and it's good to be here with you. Welcome to Get Real with Rick Dancer. Now, if you notice that my eyes are a little red, yes, marijuana is legal in Montana, but I am not on it. This is not this is not stoner eyes. This is not sleeping well eyes, and then going to the YMCA and swimming in the chlorine. So that's my excuse, and you can either buy it or just call me a stoner. It doesn't really matter to me. Anything works. We have a great show for you tonight. Bill London has done his best to stir up some news that is sure to enlighten you, brighten you, irritate some of you, but you're not going to walk away from this show without thinking, there's some stuff going on I need to ask more questions about. And our show is sponsored by Matt McCarl and New Leaf Hyperbarics and Wellness Center and all the great people that work over there. If you've never been and had hyperbaric treatment, what the hell is wrong with you? And if you haven't had light treatment, well, no wonder you're so crabby. I mean, you need to go try some of these treatments, these things. We're not going to tell you they're going to change your world because we can't, because you know what? Then YouTube pulls it. But they will. And then we have Kim Stark here just to make me look better. And she's going to take us way better. She's going to take us. Everybody, Kim, I don't know if you know this, but I get so many comments from people going, she's so pretty. And Kim is going to take us down to the Florence Wine and Chowder Festival. This is a wine and, I think, is it wine and seafood? It's wine and chowder, I think it is. That's what it's been for years. Bettina's going to join us live on the streets of Florence. Woo! And you know how that is on a Thursday night. Wait till Friday night. But it's happening this weekend, so they're going to talk about that. Matt, don't get in that hyperbaric chamber in your office. I can see you in the green room, and don't get in that chamber. And then we also have Jeff Levy here tonight, and he is going to join us. He is a guy involved with a big rally that's going on next Thursday, all about the mandates and everything that's going on with that. And he'll be here to tell us a little bit more about what it is, why it is, and what you can do about it. And we also want to thank our sponsor, Dr. Michael Graplin from Chris Dental, where everyone is welcome. And he's got a special going on, and I'll show you more about that in just a minute. But let's get the open. Let's get to Bill, and then we'll get on with the party. Hang in there. Who puts up with this? That's what I don't understand.
Bring the lion out. Bring the lion.
Tonight on our show, we're going to have... Hey guys, don't you think it's kind of fun that you get to comment on the news? There's a cost. Oh yeah, there's a cost. People come after you. I think that's why this is so much fun, is because... We'll see you at 5.
Good evening from the News Radio, 1120 AM and 93.7 FM KPNW studios. I'm Bill Lennon, co-host of the Wake Up Call, Monday through Friday morning, 6 a.m. to 9. You could say it's part of the miracles of low-cost vocational training. All right, Oregon's Democratic Party race is going to be a little different and not include New York Times columnist Nick Kristof. The Oregon Supreme Court ruled he cannot run because he doesn't meet the state's constitutional 3-year residency requirement. The court's unanimous ruling leaves former House Speaker Tina Kotek and State Treasurer Tobias Reed as the front-runners in May's Democratic primary. The court upheld a January ruling by Secretary of State Shemia Fagan that Kristof didn't meet the requirement that he would have lived here since at least November of 2019. Now, interestingly, Kristof raised over $2.7 million to fund his now dead campaign for governor, money that he can either donate to other candidates in campaigns, return to donors, or save for another future run for office. For his part, Kristof said today that in today's opinion, the Supreme Court suggested I could petition for reconsideration or pursue unaddressed issues in federal court. He said, but I respect the court's decision and will not pursue this further. And you have to give him a little bit of credit for that. In today's litigious society, you kind of have to respect the way that he handled it. And because of that, Nick Kristof is the first recipient of the Get Real with Rick Dancer Good Sportsmanship Award. That's right, Nick Kristof. Be watching your mail, because coming to a mailbox near you soon, spam with real Hormel bacon. That's right. And according to the can, it's fully cooked and ready to eat, cold or hot, because life's all about making good decisions. Okay, in Eugene. If you live in Eugene, you've been through Eugene, and you've maybe even strolled downtown, you will notice there is the Washington Jefferson Park, and that the park is essentially, well, if you will, a homeless encampment. That's going to change. A new indoor safe sleep site with room for 86 campers, as the city likes to call them, is going to be opening next week, and it sets the stage for the encampment in the Washington Jefferson Park to close up next month, with the site at 410 Garfield opening up on the 22nd with 86 heated spaces and a variety of features to support health and city stability, according to the city. The city staffers and also staffers from site operator St. Vincent de Paul are going to go to the area of that encampment and meet with the residents of the Washington Jefferson Park to share information about the new site and even offering them free help to move if they wanted. Now, whether the people camped at the Jefferson or the Washington Jefferson Park actually choose to go to Garfield or not, they're not going to have any choice about moving from the site because that whole park is going to be closed down on March 16th and it's going to be fenced off. And then the city is going to be doing what it calls major restoration so that they can later open the park for what they call normal park use. And if you've spent any time in Eugene, you know that during the day, normal park use there is, well, essentially a place for the homeless to go and hang out. That said, all existing occupants are going to need to be moved to either 410 Garfield or another location by that time. How much is it, by the way, going to cost to restore that park? At this point, the city is not saying. But at the new Garfield site, amenities will include restrooms, fresh water, garbage service, free meals, a shower trailer on site, laundry vouchers, indoor and outdoor gathering and recreational areas, and on-site access to medical and social services. All right, let's take a look at the legislature here in Oregon. A Senate bill in the Oregon legislature, SB 1527A, or if you're keeping track at home, would take away a county elections board's power to recount election results and hand it all over to the Secretary of State. Now, the original bill was only about changing the ballot envelope to remove the requirement for the security envelope and just incorporate it into the outer ballot envelope, which made the ballot envelope have the dual purpose of being a return envelope and a security envelope. Well, SB 1527 has been kind of a gut and stuff, and it now hands over authority, or if it is voted by lawmakers into and signed by the governor, it essentially gives all the authority to the Secretary of State to establish any rules for recounts, and that the Secretary of State would certify the recounts and certification of the election and not your local county clerk. They would just report to her. At this point, the bill doesn't have any safeguards to protect transparency and access to recounts by the public under the new formula. The bill passed the Senate. It now heads to the House. And you had another really contentious bill that is going to be making its way to the Oregon Senate after passing the House. A bill to make registering to vote even more lax in Oregon has caused definite sparks in the legislature. It's House Bill 4133, and it's fairly straightforward. If you don't have a driver's license or a state-issued ID card, all you need to do is use the last 4 digits of your Social Security number and submit your signatures via the internet to register to vote. Or it would allow third-party organizations to simply submit registration cards on behalf of you. House Majority Leader Julie Fahey, the bill's chief sponsor, and a Eugene Democrat, said the intent is to remove barriers for those without DMV-issued ID. And prior to the vote, the proposal received the backing from the Oregon Secretary of State, Shemia Fagan, Well, of course, she wants more power, and the American Civil Liberties Union of Oregon. But it also received strong opposition from a wide array of Oregonians, and not necessarily Republicans, who argue that it opens up the state's electoral system to fraud. Now, the Republicans are obviously against this. Representative Daniel Bonham, a Republican from the Dalles, said after reading through much of the testimony submitted on the bill and reading the bill, he concluded the voter registration proposal would be inviting fraud. He says, we've seen the ill effects of ballot harvesting here in Oregon, so Oregon certainly should not expand our voting registration process to potentially incorporate voter harvesting. Representative Zach Hudson, a Democrat from Troutdale, argued that attempts to besmirch the plan were grounded in misinformation and fear-mongering. Hudson says it's the job of the legislature to make it as easy as possible for citizens to exercise their constitutional rights. Well, the bill passed the House on a strictly partisan vote, and it now heads to the Senate, where it's going to be considered in committee next week and voted on shortly thereafter. All right, there you have it. Hope you have a nice Friday and a great weekend. In the meantime, it's time to roll out the reel with Rick.
A lot of crowns, and we do really good crowns. And it's funny, a patient asked me the other day, is like, how are you giving such cheap crowns? And I think they think that maybe I'm having like lesser quality. I have really good quality crowns, and we do really good work. And we charge, if you don't have insurance, we charge $998. So if, let's say you break a tooth and you know you need a crown, you can call us, and that's how much you're paying. We're not gonna charge you all these add-ons. You don't want a crown that breaks. I don't want stuff from China. It's a local lab. They're phenomenal. You're gonna come in the chair. We're not gonna charge you for a limited exam, X-ray, a core build-up, and a crown. We're gonna charge you $998.
Now, to get that $988 price, you do need to mention that you saw it here on Get Real with Rick Dancer, and Dr. Graplin will do that for you. I got mine done there, and it was back from the lab in 4 days. I mean, seriously, the same week I had it gone in and had it fixed, he was putting the new crown on that weekend. So we got to thank him. He's a good guy. He does great stuff, and love that man. So Kim Stark, you're too young. You're too young to have crowns, but you wait. The day will come when you will be Princess Kim and you'll be crowned as a tooth. I am King Richard now because I have.
Yeah. If only I were too young. Mm-hmm.
It's a sign of intelligence too.
Is it?
And not brushing your teeth when you're a kid.
And if my dad's a dentist, so I could not get away with that. Yeah.
Oh my God, no, I'm sure you didn't. So what do you got going? I hear there's like chowder and wine and all kinds of fun stuff over in Florence and crazy people.
I know. Okay, President's Day weekend. What a perfect weekend, right? To get over to Florence. And the weather's great over there today. Okay, so Bettina's walking the streets in the sunshine out there right now. This should be good.
She's walking this. So Bettina, you're street walking, huh?
Yes.
I'll let you guys take it away after I just throw you under the bus.
You won't mind. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the seafood and chowder. Oh, you found someone, Bettina. Okay. So she's going to tell you guys all about this festival if you haven't been in Florence. What can we expect? Tell us all the fun stuff. I love that you're out there right now.
Well, right now we're in front of the Laughing Crab Gallery at 1341 Bay Street, right next to Beachcomber. And okay. Kim is the new proprietor here in town, and she has amazing art, wine, charcuterie trays, and live music. And she's going to be hosting the chowder and also the wine tasting. So here's how it works. On Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we have 27 glass floats hidden around town that you can go look for. You find them, you get a raffle ticket, and then you get to be put in the raffle, and we give them all away on Sunday afternoon.
And those
Saturday,
are where? Like, is that a big secret?
Different stores. You have to buy a passport. It's a whopping $5, and you get to look for the glass floats, and that also gives you entry into the chowder tasting on Sunday. Okay. And then Saturday is wine tasting. We've got, I think, 10 wineries and 2 distilleries that are all over town, including the casino and here in Old Town. And those tickets are $5 for the glass, and we sell them with $10 of tasting tickets. We're going to have a shuttle running from Old Town up to the event center and to the casino and around. So it's going to be really fun. We're excited. This is our first time back in 2 years, and we're ready to party.
Yes. That's so nice.
So this is Kim, and she's the proprietor. So I'm going to let her just kind of share what it's like to do business in here in Florence.
Yeah, so we represent over 50 Oregon artists here, and we specialize in small boutique wines of Oregon and Washington specifically. And so we'll be hosting seasoned sellers from Roseburg and their award-winning wines that they've been making since 2012. And we're excited to be here, and this will be our first wine trail. And yeah, come on down and visit us. And we've the most unique art around. It's really amazing.
This sounds super fun. Now the fun starts tomorrow, right? If you want to get down there. Okay. And you guys
It does. The glass float trail starts tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. And then Saturday is the wine trail, and Sunday is the chowder competition. Now, the chowder competition is pretty stiff around here. Novelli's has won 3 years in a row for their crab chowder. And it was so funny. I had somebody contact me a while back, and they said, well, I couldn't find any clams in Novelli's chowder. And I leaned in and I said, that's because it's crab chowder. So we've got crab chowder, we've got clam chowder, we've got all different kinds of chowders. And so it's really fun. Lovejoy's won last year, so they are deep in the heat to win it again this year. And so we're just excited. It's a fun time to come away for President's Weekend, 3-day weekend, get your hotel, come over. As you can see, I'm going to just give you a little pan around. The weather is looking beautiful. And Florence is calling, man. Florence is calling.
Bettina,
It's calling.
We're gonna have to hire you to be like Kim, we should hire Bettina to be our little Florence correspondent. She does a good job.
Well, it's all about
Florence. Yes.
We're just happy to be able to help promote it. We're all looking for something fun to do. It's right smack dab in the middle of winter, when if you've got SAD, come over here and get over it, right?
You know what, Bettina, I got to say, this is totally, worthless comment and everything, but you're kind of doing some cool stuff with that hair,
We're trying, we're the little engine that could.
I was sitting here going, wait a minute, look at her. She's got.
And I appreciate you having us on and letting us talk about Florence. By the way, thank you for letting us share the Anxiety to Peace workshop with you a couple weeks ago. That workshop was a huge success, and it's online. And so the anxietytopeace.org will take you directly to the YouTube, and where they can watch it for free. So if somebody's out there has got a little burnout, little depression, looking for some resources, they are there for free at anxietytopeace.org.
That was a great show, Bettina. That was really Kim and Bettina.
Courtney rocked it. She really did.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Thank you so much for joining us from there. Have fun. We're jealous.
Have fun. I got to go back in and drink some more wine now, because we're having business after hours tonight. So we've got everybody
has to. Yeah.
Doing business.
Kim, you need to go on assignment.
I know. I'm thinking, gosh, okay, we need to make it over there. If it's not nice out, that sounds fun. Yeah.
Hey, there's a little person.
So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, so he would like the float hunt, I think. Would you like that part, to search for the floats? Yeah, you can find one. Rick, should I tell them what you said about his jacket?
I told him. So Everett, show people your jacket, okay? So I saw Everett has a little Levi jacket on. And I said, that's a cool jacket, because I have one now that I wear right now. I have one. And Everett tells me, oh, yeah, it was 60s day at school. And so I'm dressed up like I was living in the 60s. So that just put me in my place. Rick Dancer, fashion sense, 0. All right, Kim, see you guys later.
And Elena has tie-dye.
Oh, look at you.
Bye, guys.
Oh, well, see, I had that too before. All right, see you guys later. That's crazy. Love having Kim here. Hey, look who's here. Matt McCarl. So you've been traveling a little. We had this video. I'm going to show you. You shot it. You should know.
Oh, yeah.
So tell people what you were doing.
So I traveled down to Puerto Rico. And that is a chiropractor's office who does more than just chiropractic work. He actually works with neurofeedback, helps with concussion therapy, and all kinds of different things above just standard chiropractic stuff. So he's a wellness center down there, and he wanted to expand into hyperbarics. I met him in August at a training, and we talked a little bit more, and he decided to get one of our biggest chambers that we offer for his clinic down there. And that's on the other side of the island, about an hour away from San Juan. And he's working on building another clinic in San Juan, so he's possibly going to purchase another one for that one as well.
So if there are people out there who are already using this, know about it, you rent them, you sell them, and then you come and set them up for people as well. You can, so that they don't have to do that. But you have one right there in that back in your office, and that's your home. That's Matt's home. So he and Cece and all the kids can go in the hyperbaric. What are we finding in terms of COVID, other diseases that this is really helping people come back from?
Well, right now we're getting a lot of COVID recovery folks that are they're using oxygen and stuff like that after COVID because their lungs just got hammered and they're just having trouble getting back to having really good lung capacity and being able to breathe and good oxygen saturation. So we're having folks come in an hour to 90 minutes in the chamber, putting lights in their chest and their back at the same time while they're in there to really just get that heavy oxygenated blood flow into their lungs, get them cleared up and get them healed. We're working with folks. We have a young lady that was on your show coming in, little Miss Payson. She's so adorable. We're helping her out with some really good things. So we're seeing them here, there, now and again. And then traumatic brain injury. We have a young man who just learned that he might be starting dementia, but his family says yes. It's kind of the things he's headed down, and we're helping him be more getting back to normal, less dementia type activity. When he first came in, he was kind of standoffish and kind of, and I've known this guy for a while. Actually, he's a friend of mine, but I've noticed that he's more back to himself, or at least getting there. And then
I think the other one that
mainly aches and pains. Really, a lot of folks are coming in for that as well. We have folks come in for strokes and traumatic brain injuries, of course, all the time too.
The other thing is that we haven't talked about for a while too is you're seeing really good, at least the research is showing really good results for people with autism too.
Mm-hmm.
People on the spectrum, it can help
Yeah.
them.
You know, we have a client. In fact, during the holidays, his family got busy, so we need to reach out to them and see how they're doing. And if he wants, but he's been coming in for several years. We met him at the Asian festival like 4 years ago, and by young man, I mean he's in his 30s, and
Gotcha.
and within a week or two of treatments, his family reported that he was now sleeping through the night, doing more normal things that they were been struggling with for years with him.
So what, in terms of treatments, what do people normally do? How many do they get a week, a month? What? So people standing there going, well, what? I go in one time. You don't just go one time. I mean, it's kind of, it's like a system you have to get on to do this. But what do most people do?
So it really depends on what we're treating. We always recommend that everybody does their first 3 within 7 days, if possible. You know, monetarily, you know, we have to make it easy for them, which we do have a great intro package, if you will, to help folks be able to get those first 3 to really get the inflammation down, toxins down, get the oxygen ramped up in the system so it can help recover, straighten things out that might be not working quite properly in the body. Then if you're an average healthy individual like you, Rick, folks may come in once a month, once every other month, just to keep themselves on track. Chronic pain, a week for several weeks, and then do like a maintenance treatment. Like myself, I did 3 times a week. 6 weeks in, I noticed I wasn't taking all the ibuprofen I was taking. The numbness and tingling I had in these fingers from my neck surgery was gone. And I worked my way backwards to twice a week. That seemed to work just fine. Worked my way back to once a week. That worked just fine. And then I tried to go every other week. And I made it about a week and a half and was like, no, I'm starting to hurt really bad. So I realized that once a week is my sweet spot.
Okay. So people can just call your office and set up an appointment. And if they have more questions, they can talk with you, right? I mean, you can kind of lead them along because people, I think, it's so new. I mean, it doesn't seem new because you've been talking about this for a long time, but I still think the one thing I do think is really, I find great is I can just say hyperbarics and people go, oh, I really want to try that. It's like, then you need to go do it. Cause it's like, really want to try it doesn't get you in the chamber.
Exactly.
You have to, you hear the zipper, then you know you're in.
Exactly. Yeah, no, folks can call. And if I'm not there, feel free to talk to my staff. They're all well educated. Even the newer, we just got one of our new employees is actually a client that had been coming to see us for a few times. And she just was a perfect fit for our team. And she has a great story of her own as well. So
Hey, you know what? We should bring her on next month.
Yeah.
For a show. That'd be really fun to talk with her. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. You talk to your people. I'll talk to my people, and we'll get that worked out. Man, thank you for your sponsorship and helping us with the show. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rick.
All right. See you later. Okay. So just to show that I am not only about big hair, we have two guests tonight who are both follically challenged, and Matt was the first. And that's how I introduce new people to the show. And this is Jeff. Jeff, your mic's off. Turn your mic on, buddy. There you go. You're on.
How you doing?
I'm good, Jeff. How are you?
I'm fine. So I'm Jeff. Go ahead, Rick.
Introduce yourself. Tell people who you're with.
So I'm Jeff Levy. I'm the board president I'm the founder of Timber Unity, and then we split ways. So I am the board president of a group called ONRI, Oregon Natural Resource Industries. And we will be having a rally down in Salem on the 24th of this month. Starts at 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. We have a couple of things that couple of bills we got to fight that directly hurt the timber industry.
So was it hard to come up with an acronym when it's ONRI?
No, it wasn't.
You had to find ONRI first and then find some timber words that went with it. Right?
Yeah. I think Tasha found that. Tasha's our secretary.
What are the two big issues for the timber industry in Oregon? Because the Oregon, that's still a huge industry for Oregonians. What are the two that you're most concerned about, Jeff?
Senate Bill 1501, Senate Bill 1502, and House Bill 4055, and also the Elliott State Forest. That's a big one. They want to give that to OSU, and that's what is it? It's 90,000 acres.
That belongs to Oregonians.
Yes, it belongs to Oregon Department of Forestry, but they have not logged a stick in 10 years. It's 90,000 acres.
And that money, if it was logged, the resources would come back to the people of the state of Oregon.
It was given to the state for the general school fund. Okay, and so with the HCP, which is the Habitat Conservation Plan that's been in the works for 4 years, really hurts Clatsop State Forest and Tillamook State Forest. 70% out of that HCP comes out of those two forests. It's just more and more and more the same, putting the clamps on the timber industry. The Elliott is really critical to schools. Okay, so the Elliott is worth over $1 billion.
Wow.
So the state wants to sell it to OSU for $221 million. And it's really, really hard to understand that. So you look back at the private forest accord, and Senate Bill 1501 implements most provisions of the private forest accord, which I'll get to that here in a second. Senate Bill 1502 compensates small forest landowners with a tax credit. House Bill 4055 adds a harvest tax to fund ecological mitigation and restoration at the tune of $5 million paid for by timberland owners and $10 million from taxpayers. So the enviros aren't paying for this, but they get to reap the rewards. They get to restrict private timber.
So, and it's hard for timber to get the word out about what's going on, because all you have to do in Oregon is say, they're cutting down timber, and people don't understand the walls behind you in your home that you're sitting in, the walls behind me, those are all stud frame timber. Sure. And unless you're going to use steel, which is far more devastating to the environment, and all the processing. But this is what we do as people. It drives me crazy, Jeff. It's the same with, I'm not against Teslas. Teslas are great cars. Sure. But those batteries, the lithium has to be mined for places like Montana. And it doesn't just show up as, here it is. So you are using natural resources no matter what you do. And the timber industry is really getting hit hard right now. And that is people like you who work in the industry, and a lot of other people. And I think sometimes that the industry gets blown up as, well, these are just rich people that, are raping the land and doing all this stuff, when in fact, we all use timber products, and we need to be smart about that. I think this happened when the spotted owl came along too, is all of a sudden everybody screamed and stopped logging. And then they wondered why a couple of years later, school funding dropped off. Well, that's because O&C timber revenues were one of the major sources of funding education in the state of Oregon. And so when you take that leg out, and then you feel all good. Oh, there, we saved the owl. Turns out it wasn't even the spotted owl. It was the barn owl that was doing the damage. So we make a mistake. Nobody talks about it, but we stop all this logging, and then we can't raise enough money to educate our kids. We need to start critically thinking, if I do this, what's it going to do? And that's really the point of your rally, is to get people to wake up and say, this is a major industry in the state, and we've got to preserve it in a smart way. It doesn't mean you're not calling for people to go out and tear down every timber,
No, I've worked in the timber industry now for 16 years, and I've watched in the beginning, I watched them take bridges out and put culverts in, right? And then they did fish studies. We left a 25-foot buffer on each side of the stream. Then they went to 50. Now they want to go to a 125-foot buffer on each side of the stream.
I heard
that's
that.
That's a lot of timber. That's a lot.
And they're gonna get it. That's the hard part, is because they've got the industry by the kahunas.
They do.
And until the people of Oregon start standing up and thinking for themselves and looking and understanding the issues rather than the soundbite that they're hearing on the evening news that just tells them what to think.
And that's why we fought cap and trade so hard in 2019. That's why the Republicans blocked, because they had the support of the industry. That state capitol had never seen anybody in a hickory and work clothes in that capitol. And I was pretty much the first person. And I'll give you a little story if I got a couple seconds.
Yeah. Give it to it. Go ahead.
So I walk into the information desk. I talked to Betsy Johnson, I don't know, a couple of days, and then I messaged her. I'm in Salem. I found a place to park an empty log truck and walk into the Capitol, walk up the information desk, and ask for Betsy Johnson's office. And she said, well, go down the hallway, take a left, go down the hallway a little ways, take the stairs, and go to the third floor. And I thought, okay, I'll find it. There's 3 OSB cops standing there, right? And they're all looking at me, and I'm in my black hoodie with fluorescent on it, my Carhartts, my work. I don't care, So I walk up there and I find Betsy's office, and I'm sitting there waiting for her. And pretty soon I hear footsteps coming down the hall. It's an OSB officer. He goes, do you have any business here? I said, well, yeah, I'm here to see Betsy Johnson. He said, well, we don't have you on our schedule. So I pulled up the text and I pulled up the conversation I had with her. He read it all. And he said, well, we'll see about that. He turned around, walked down the hall. And about 10 minutes later, I guess he was standing there the whole time. And Betsy walks out of the side door. She goes, what are you doing here? And he said, well, you have a vagrant up here.
Oh, God.
And she goes, a vagrant? So she walks down the hall with him. She turns the corner. I'm sitting in a chair. She goes, that's no vagrant. That's Jeff Levy. He's one of my constituents. And he says, are you going to be okay, Betsy? And she says, I'll be just fine. Thank you.
Oh, my gosh. Yep. I love that. You should have said to him when he said something. I'm here to meet with the next governor of Oregon, Betsy Johnson.
You know what, though?
Betsy knows your outfit because she knows she comes from logging family. I mean, she understands the industry.
She's my senator. She's my senator here in my district. I have a lot of respect for Betsy. She was the first person I contacted when I started TU. And she has always done for the working people.
So what do you one more time, details on the rally? So this is to support the timber industry.
Yes.
And it's next Thursday.
At
What
10
time?
a.m.
What time? 10 a.m.
Starts at 10 a.m.
And where is it?
It's at the Capitol. We've got the park across from the Capitol.
Okay, you're cutting out a little bit, Jeff. I'm gonna see if he comes back. We'll hold on a second here.
Did I lose it?
There he is.
Okay.
It's gonna happen. Keep talking.
Okay, at 10 a.m. So we got the park across from the Capitol because the Capitol is barricaded because it's under construction. So they say. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty good party. So I invite everybody to come down and enjoy and have a good time and listen to the speakers and understand what the issues are.
All right, Jeff, thank you so much for putting up and joining me and coming in and talking about all this stuff. And we'll have you back again. Let me know when things are going on. Okay.
I love to. Thank you so much for the offer, Rick. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. So you guys, that's what you can do if you want to understand the timber industry instead of watching the news or reading the Register Guard or some papers version of what it is. I can tell you from being a reporter, when you talk to the people that it affects and impacts, you find out what's really going on. There's no smoke and mirrors with people like that. And so you go down there, support them, because this is all part of Oregon. It's all part of our history and it's part of our future. And if it gets axed out and if these little rules just keep getting whittled away and more pressure on the timber industry, it's going to start. It already is. It's affecting other people too, not just timber companies. It's affecting the loggers and the businesses and the store owners and their families and the schools and all of it. If we don't learn anything from this pandemic, is to learn there is an opposite action to every action we take. And we need to start as people in Oregon thinking about not just what makes me feel good and what tickles my ass. We need to start thinking about what could happen if that happens. If the Elliott Forest is sold to Oregon State for $230, whatever the heck it is, what could the ramifications be of that state money? Where does that money supposed to go? So what's going to fill that void? We need to start asking those questions instead of just taking it and going, oh, that makes my heart sing and I feel so good. Because nobody gives a shit how you feel. It's what's it going to do to Oregon in 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years. And that's how we need to start thinking. I'm Rick Dancer. Thanks for being with us tonight. This is our last show for the week. We will be back on Monday. And what's coming on Monday? We have Alfred Taylor and some other folks coming on to join us. We're picking up. I'm going out and shooting some stories on Montana next week. I found a guy who makes tiny houses and he's selling them all over the country. And these are $100,000 tiny houses. These aren't little cheap, $20,000 things. These are big, big, big deal. So anyway, we're talking to him. I found a local artist I want to go talk to. So we'll be getting some of that Montana stuff in here too. To just show people in Oregon, guess what? The whole world's not under a mandate. A lot of us are living free. Some lady came on a page today bitching at me and no, I did not find a house yet. She was bitching at me and saying, well, I don't even think you live here anymore. And I said, and what does that matter? I'm still an Oregonian, so shut up. All right. Have a good night. We'll see you guys later. See you. Bye-bye.